So Microsoft is apparently scrapping next year's big update for Windows 11 and instead aiming for a major release in 2024, which will be 3 years after Windows 11 first launched. So why the change of plans and what can we expect to see in Microsoft's next big Windows release? Russell here, editorial director of Petri.com in this life and IT consultant in a previous one. So a few days ago, Windows Central reported that one of its sources was informing them that Microsoft is going to shake up the Windows update schedule once again. So the current situation, which was only decided by Microsoft maybe about a year ago, just before the release of Windows 11, is that Windows 10 and Windows 11 currently get one major feature update a year. But since Windows 11 was launched in October 2021, Microsoft has been releasing small but significant feature updates to the operating system. For instance, there have been minor changes to how search works. And if these reports are true, Microsoft is now planning to release a major feature update for Windows once every 3 years and to release smaller feature updates maybe up to 4 times a year, which it's going to call moments. Now, assumedly, of course, these moments are going to come to consumers whether they like it or not, and enterprises will be able to block them if they don't want to roll them out to their users. The next big update for Windows 11 was actually planned in 2023. Now, the code name for the current version of Windows 11 that we have in general availability was called Sun Valley. And the next version of Windows, which is now scheduled for 2024, so a year later than planned, is apparently codenamed Next Valley. Not very imaginative if you ask me, but apparently that's what it's called internally at Microsoft. Now, of course, the name Windows 12 has been made up by the press. We don't really know, is it going to be Windows 12? You know, they might stick with Windows 11, I don't know. But I think it's a fair bet that probably they're going to start increasing the version numbers once again. So, why is it not going to be a big bang update? So the first reason I think is that people just don't really care about Windows that much anymore. Now, I know that Microsoft would love you to care. Panos Panay, when he did the launch event for Windows 11, really wanted you desperately to care about Windows, but most people have moved on from owning a desktop PC or a notebook, and of course the phone is the most important device. Android and iOS is what the average person cares about much more than Windows. Windows is just something that they use for work, and it's not something that they really get excited about. Of course, there are some exceptions where people haven't moved on from PCs, you know, gamers, maybe content creators, enthusiasts, but they're a relatively small part of the market. It's really enterprise computing that Windows is all about these days in terms of revenue. And of course, enterprises want stability, and I believe this 3-year release cycle is partly addressing that for them. So why move this release to 2024? Well, I think one of the main reasons for that could possibly be that 2024 is likely to be the first release of Windows that we're going to see that is going to work really well on ARM devices. Now, I know that some people don't believe that Microsoft is really serious about ARM, that it's kind of given up, but that's clearly not the case because Windows on ARM is very actively being developed and now pushed in the Insider channel. We had the whole Volterra project that was announced, I think it was back at Build, to try and encourage developers to develop native ARM applications for Windows. So I think that Microsoft is really pushing forwards with ARM. What we don't have, of course, is the hardware, but that's going to change hopefully at the end of this year going into 2023. So by the time we get around to 2024, hopefully the chip situation for Microsoft and its partners will have really changed for ARM. And at that point, we're going to need an operating system that properly supports Windows on ARM, that makes it something usable, much like Apple is doing with the M1 Macs, of course. So what does that mean? I think in 2024, what we're really going to get as part of that big feature update for Windows is a translation environment for Intel applications, so for Win32 apps, so that they can run on ARM devices. Of course, hardware manufacturers also play a part in all of this because, of course, they want you to buy new hardware. And one of the reasons you might buy new hardware, for instance, is you want to run the next big released version of Windows, but maybe it won't run on your current device. Much like we're seeing with Windows 11 now, you need at least an Intel 8th generation chip, you need a TPM, a trusted platform module, essential. If not, basically, either you've got to keep Windows 10 on your device and it'll be unsupported come 2025, or you need to install Linux or maybe Chrome OS Flex. And I think that's a big problem for Microsoft going forwards. I think it's also a problem for the world in general, for the economic situation, for the ecological situation. We can't just be throwing hundreds of thousands of devices on the scrap heap, of course. It's not good for anybody. But I think, going forwards, hardware needs to last longer. And I think ARM has a role to play in that as well. Cooler devices mean that they work for longer, of course. Businesses, they need to stretch out that 3 or 4, update cycle for hardware, maybe to 5 or 6 years. We need to do it for economic reasons and for the planet. So Windows is a mature product. I think it's mainly focused these days on the enterprise, which is why I don't think we're going to see that kind of Apple-style big release in 2024. Of course, Microsoft might try to do that like they did with Windows 11, but I don't think it's going to have the same effect. It's not going to get people really excited like Apple events and products do. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe Microsoft has something up their sleeve that's going to really wow us all, really make us fall in love with Windows 12. I really hope that I'm wrong about all of this and that Microsoft does have something up its sleeve, but I don't think that it's very likely. So Windows 12 will be the same as the Windows 11 release. It'll probably be just an evolution. Hopefully, we'll see some of those things move forwards like, compatibility and, a really great working system for ARM devices. It's already a couple of years out, so there's time for Microsoft and its hardware partners to make all of that happen. And we'll see, a roll-up of all those features that consumers have been able to enjoy in the meantime, rolled up into a release for enterprises with all the latest security updates, of course, all those features or moments. And I think that's what we're going to get in 2024. If you found the content in this video useful, then please give it a like. If you'd like to see more videos like this, then do subscribe to the channel. And I'm going to leave you with a couple of videos on the screen that you can see now that you might want to watch after this one. And I'll see you next week.